Welcome, everybody, to Cinephrauds. I'm Heather McLaren. I'm here with Anna Rose from the Morning After Girls.
Thank you.
And Andrea Thompson from the Young Folks.
Hey.
And we are here to talk about Wonder Woman.
Yes.
All right, so first impressions. What did you guys think of the film?
Awesome.
I loved it.
Yes.
I loved it.
DC would be the one to do this and not Marvel.
Right.
Oh, and DC movies have been kind of bad lately.
Right.
So this was a good one.
I mean, Harley Quinn, Margot Robbie, she was kind of good in spite of it. I felt like she just turned
she
shit
killed
into
it.
gold.
She killed the character.
Yeah.
A lot of the
Or she
cast was
spun shit
good
into
in that
gold.
movie,
But
particularly.
Suicide
But the
Squad-
movie itself, the plot itself,
Largely was a mess.
it was
Yeah,
a hot
every way.
mess.
Even Jared Leto, is that how you pronounce
Jared
his name?
Leto?
Jared Leto.
Even he managed to do kind of good with what he was given.
Yeah,
he could
people
have been
gave
a
him
better
a lot
Joker.
of shit, but to be fair,
Yeah.
they didn't really give Joker a role in the movie. He just kept showing up, so he did the best he could with it.
And yeah, not a good interpretation.
No.
But yeah, he's a jerk, but he's good at his job. that
Yeah,
guy.
but for Wonder Woman, I really didn't have high hopes because of that. Like DC just really hadn't been bringing it to the table, which is too bad because they're my favorite comics versus Marvel, aside from Spider-Man. But we didn't. And but I only heard really good things about it, and then when I went to see, right from the beginning, I was locked in.
Yeah, same here.
It's hard to grab my attention in movies, especially when they're 2 hours and 22-minute long.
Right.
It didn't feel that long.
It really didn't.
No.
I wanted to stand up and cheer the whole time.
Oh yeah. Well, I snuck in little bottles of wine, so I was not in the jumping stage. But I was in it. I was in it for sure.
All right. Well, so I was wondering, so beyond first impressions, everybody loves their favorite superheroes. We've got, Hugh Jackman as the iconic Wolverine. Do we think that Gal Gadot is living up to sort of Linda Carter as Wonder Woman in this movie?
Yes.
She did an amazing job. I mean, I was
Definitely.
a little turned on.
Right.
I'm a straight woman, but I wanted
So spaghetti till you heat it up.
try a little bit. Yeah, she did great though. I mean, really. I mean, I thought the whole cast was really well done.
Yeah, I mean, she was charismatic. She was vulnerable. She was kick-ass. She was sweet.
Yeah.
She was tough. She
And
was
as a woman with a
everything.
deep voice, I appreciate that she also has a deep voice. Yes.
Oh, God,
I mean, yeah, she proved she was way more than just a pretty face in this, because that's mostly what she's been up till now, a pretty face.
I might argue
in
with you a
case-
little bit in Fast and Furious, but I'm
Well, Fast and
biased
Furious
because I have
also,
a girlfriend that loves
also
those
a
movies.
hot body.
It's true.
So
But, oh, God. But, so in terms of how we feel about sort of the World War I setting versus the more common World War II setting, in many ways this kind of reminded me of the Captain America movies, but I almost felt like World War I, the whole sort of message of it, war is hell, and men don't deserve women, humanity doesn't deserve Diana.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, I felt like they had to set it then so they could avoid it being like the same movie as Captain America.
Exactly.
Basically.
But what did you sort of think of the World War I setting? Do you think it was well done? Do you think it made sense for the storyline?
I think they took it and they kind of made it work and
Yeah.
work really well.
Yeah, I definitely think so. I think the point of superheroes is to put them in real time and imagine them in real life and immerse them amongst humanity and see how they react to it, see how they encourage or disencourage it. And so placing her within the war, I thought was a really smart choice instead of just making it a superhero god Hercules movie, you know?
Right.
And making it about one of the most senseless wars there was. That
Yeah,
really,
I think that was kind of the point.
that
right?
directly
Yeah.
led to another war that made that look like a tea party.
Exactly. Which brings me to sort of the message of the movie, and I will get spoilery here for people who don't want to know about that. Do we think that... How do we think David Thewlis was in this movie? Do we think...
How much did he have to work out to get that one shot with his shirt off that lasted 2 seconds?
What, the one who was crouching in a cave, looking very
No.
Very vulnerable.
Yeah.
What I didn't get is why he didn't just sink back down into the water.
Yeah.
He was so embarrassed, yet he stayed there.
Oh.
Hey, they made the price of his soul worthwhile for this movie, I think.
Yeah.
Soul's like your appendix. You don't even use it. You know?
But, all right, so do we think that the whole CGI fight at the end sort of suited him as an actor, or do you think it was a little over the top? The CGI fight at the end, what do you feel about it?
It was definitely over the top, and I wish they tossed in a little bit more realism, because you had all these obvious female athletes over there, and the CGI, not just in the climactic final battle scene, but in the beginning too, I felt like it detracted from that a bit.
Right, like I felt like when they were on, what is it, the Mystera? The island.
The island.
The island of
Paradise
beautiful
Island.
women.
Yeah.
With Robin Wright looking gorgeous all the time. There were times where I thought it almost did feel unrealistic. Not unrealistic, but it looked hyper-realistic the way they were like sort of moving around. But
I mean, isn't that kind of the point?
it
Real
kinda
time
works.
in slow-mo so we can see what's happening.
Yeah.
I think... Yeah, I didn't have any thoughts of that while it was happening. I'm kind of like thinking back on it now. I still don't... it didn't bother me. I thought it was well done, because if you're just going at it... I mean, okay, like I sort of think of Lord of the Rings as reference with the battling scenes. They're really cool, but they all just happen really fast. And then they might like focus on one character and then just like do that real quick. But this just kind of made it seem like... we were just focusing in, and it was just like a slowed down filter.
Yeah.
But it was still happening quickly. It was, like kind of just like the slow-mo on the muscle flexing. Like, I thought it was well done.
I kind of I wish they back off on the CGI a bit for these battle scenes, kind of. I don't know how they would do that, but I wish they'd go a little old school or something, and maybe have an actual person in the midst of this epicness, because I'd be able to feel so much more anxiety during it,
Right, it's sort of a weight to those like stakes. It feels like somebody might actually die if it's something very realistic. But in terms of like going back,
They're gods.
It's true.
So how realistic can you get? How
Fair
human
enough.
about it can you get?
Well, I think they managed to keep it semi-realistic, like how a person would
I
actually
just
react.
think that they're supposed to be graceful. They were supposed
True.
to be
Yeah.
holding their composure there, because they're Amazon women.
It's true. I have to say, I loved the whole design of that island. It was beautiful, and I sort of like the whole,
And when she walks into London, it's hideous.
They did a really good job of having like all the smokestacks, and it was gray and disgusting.
It was all just dark doom,
And then
unfortunate.
the interaction with the other women too, not just the Amazons, but his secretary. She's like, they use that to hide their tummies.
low-key
Why? Only a woman without a tummy would answer. Would ask that
She was
question.
the unsung hero in that movie too.
Oh, she really
Underappreciated.
was.
She was so great.
I want to know what happened to her. Like this, David Julius disappeared from the office, and she's like,
Yeah, she got to use Wonder Woman's sword and shield.
She did.
Yes.
That was very impressive.
They didn't just have all types of women. They had all types of body types.
It's true. I would have loved to see more of her, I'll be honest. Like, I thought she did fantastic. She was a really cool character.
She was really funny. Good comic relief.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting that they gave us like a clothing montage in this.
I thought that was so funny, because a lot of those fashions are ridiculous, and she just didn't get it, and that was so great.
Yes. How do the women fight in these?
Yeah, right? And the whole glasses thing, like, oh, suddenly she's not the most beautiful woman I've ever seen.
Right. I do like that they
Well, it's
subverted
better.
that.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, she looks gorgeous still. Come on.
Yeah, right?
Come on, Chris Pine.
That was great.
That's actually brings me to something else. Chris Pine's role in it, I thought in this was kind of interesting because he's kind of supposed to be that guy who's like, oh, I'm guiding her through the modern world. But I feel like they subverted that a lot, where like she already knew things that he thought he had to explain to her.
Yeah.
Like the big thing I'm thinking about is
she
the
couldn't
scene,
help but be naive. Yeah.
right? But she would do things like the scene in the boat where he's like, well, that's not where babies come from. And she's like, oh, you're referring to reproduction? Shut up. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Don't be
Yeah,
so
I
weird.
thought that was
They
great.
just said what we were all thinking, what so many other movies would have left unsaid.
Yeah, well, I thought that was really good, because it wasn't some Ariel, like, I have no idea what this is. Like, she's a smart woman. She's a god. She has knowledge. She's read books. She did her studies. The things that she doesn't understand are, like, experiences or small insignificant things like a watch. So, like, I thought that was a really good balance, too.
With that, they maintained just such a delicate balance with that, because, like, she was sexual without being a sex object.
Right.
Yes,
Like,
especially like when
you could tell
they
a woman
went to the
directed
hotel
this.
or whatever and they
Yeah.
kissed and they
Right.
just let it go from there. It was so
Yeah.
good that
Yeah,
there
Wonder
wasn't
Woman
some
got to get
sex
laid.
scene.
That was
Yeah,
so
it was very
awesome.
nice.
But it's good we didn't see it because you
I
don't want,
agree,
you don't
yeah.
want to see that with Wonder Woman.
No, you
And
don't.
if we did, that would have set a whole different tone for the movie.
I
Because
agree.
obviously men are supposed to be drooling over her. That's part of her.
They're gonna drool over her
stature.
anyway.
Yeah,
Like
yes,
that's part
yeah.
of who
They don't
woman,
need to
Wonder
show
Woman
that to
is.
make men drool over.
I mean, it's sort of a weapon too, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's sort
Yeah.
of the whole point.
Sexuality is a weapon, yeah.
But if we saw the sex scene, it would have been
It
a
would've
whole level of
detracted
from it. It would've been more
respect down.
exploitative
It's
than
okay
it
to
needed to be,
imply
yeah.
it, and I'm glad, it was really well done the way they did it, and the whole theme was love. She believes in love. I thought that was really, really well
Right.
done.
And
Just
then-
don't show it to us. It wasn't needed. That was
Yeah,
really
and Patty
good.
Jenkins directed this so well. You could,
She really
like I
did.
said, you could tell a woman directed this because the clothings were sexy and everything, but she wasn't objectified. She was filmed
wasn't.
really
Everything was
respectfully.
covered. It was still armor and reasonable. It was just
Yeah.
really, it was a lot of grace to it.
It
It
would
was
have
really
been
good.
so different if they had a male director.
Right,
like,
there were
in those-
no-
especially
Yeah.
in the beginning,
Especially
costume.
Zack Snyder.
There would have been
like, there were no
a lot of cleavage
Right.
and like unreal.
Yeah, not that there's anything wrong with that,
It's
but
just
it
for,
should
that's
be
not for this.
yeah.
It's not
yeah,
for
it should
this.
be
It's not
all
for this.
about the only thing the character's about.
Right.
Uh-huh.
Like,
and it
it's
not the
absolutely wasn't.
point, yeah.
Like, I think there's a reason that some of the most kick-ass empowered heroines lately have been preteen girls, like
Right.
from Stranger Things, and
That's a
like
really good
the girl
point.
from Logan. You know, so
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hollywood doesn't seem to know how to like make adult women superheroes.
Right, without making them objects in a way.
Yeah.
Like there hasn't been a female superhero movie for God. What is
I mean,
it,
I'm
15
guilty.
years?
I already said I want to fuck Wonder Woman. I already
Yeah.
said it.
That's
But
fine.
You didn't need the sex scene to do that.
I didn't. There
No.
you go.
We want to fuck her without all that stuff. You don't need it.
Although Chris Pine does get more stripped down in this than she does. There's that weird little
Yeah.
scene where they're talking about his penis,
That
and I'm
is
like,
true.
I don't know how I feel about that scene being in here.
True, but it is fair because she literally has never seen a man before.
True.
Yes.
So
They just said all this unsayable stuff.
I
That,
do appreciate
and-
that. They were like, oh, she's like, what's that? And he's definitely believes that he's talking about it. She's talking about his dick, and it's like, oh no, it's the watch that my father gave me. I'm sorry.
I suppose it plays off the whole like. Well, I mean, okay, so we're talking about female stereotypes and throwing like a lot of that falls into movies.
Right.
So there's obviously that comes with men too. So being a female director, why not throw that in there? Like, ugh, men are always thinking with their dicks, right? Like,
Yeah, I couldn't believe a woman didn't write this. Honestly.
Really? I actually
a
did
guy-
not realize that.
Yeah, I looked it up on IMDb, and I forget who wrote it, but it was a guy who wrote it.
Huh.
It actually gives me hope.
see, there you go.
Oh God.
I'd have loved to have a female writer, but
But hey, at least we had a female director on this one.
exactly.
And I do you think that, much like Bridesmaids led to a lot of sort of copycats in like, female road movies where they go out and they have a party, like that new one.
Best night ever. What's
Yeah.
the new one? Yeah, what's
that
the new
Scarlett
one?
Johansson one? What is
Right.
that?
Rough Night.
Rough
Night.
Night. There's a lot of those that
Um,
like shadowed from The Hangover.
And there have been so many, like, it's been so many years since there's been a female-centered superhero movie. Do you think that now we'll
The
finally
Hunger
start?
Games, maybe.
I mean, that's
That's the
more.
closest
I feel
thing
like
we can
YA
get.
dystopias are kind of a different category.
Yeah,
Like,
but
these
it
big-
still was a
Yeah.
woman-led action movie.
It
that-
was. But in
Yeah.
terms of like sort of the traditional DC Marvel, like the fact that they made an Ant-Man movie existed before a Wonder Woman movie existed.
We didn't need Ant-Man.
Yeah,
It's
remember
not a good
on
movie.
Entourage where they had the guy be in an Aquaman movie because they thought they will never make an Aquaman
Right.
movie?
And now they are.
Yeah.
And it's only coming out a couple of years after, or when is that coming out? Later this year? Next
I
year?
don't know, but it's Khal Drogo, so I'm looking forward.
It's true enough. But it just feels like it took a long time to bring Wonder Woman to the screen.
They had Thor.
It's
first.
Thor
Yeah.
before. And it's sort of, I'm wondering, do you think that we'll finally start to see more female superhero movies?
Captain Marvel's coming out soon, and they're talking about a Squirrel Girl movie.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be a lot of fun.
I feel like, yeah, I heard about that too.
Anna Kendrick, is she going to play her? I know there was all that buzz about her.
Didn't
Was
she?
that? I didn't hear
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
That would be
everyone
crazy.
wants Anna Kendrick to play Squirrel Girl.
Was that a Twitter thing where she was like lobbying for that on Twitter, or was that
Maybe
a...
that's when I saw that.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe, actually.
Oh, that'd
yeah.
be a lot of fun.
Well, Well, up until this time, like, TV has been more where we can find these great female superheroes, like
True.
the Agent Carter, we had Supergirl, and we had Jessica Jones.
Jessica Jones was
Three
great. That was really
completely
great.
different women.
Very different
Yeah.
stories.
Very different. So yeah, it seems like that movies are now catching on.
Well, women are also growing in Hollywood too, so that that's another reason.
Oh, and there's going to be a Birds of Prey movie with Margot Robbie, female villains
Oh.
and female heroines, and I heard Margot Robbie was set to produce. So
Oh, interesting.
Oh wow.
so yeah.
Very cool. Do you?
Oh, and sorry, they
no
got a
worries.
black female. They got a black female director of a Silver Sable movie, and another hero, Silver Sable and Black Cat. coming up.
I don't know if I've heard of either of those superheroes. I'll admit I'm not as up on superhero the superhero genres I should be, but
Well, they're kind of both anti-heroines too.
Oh, cool.
Like Black Cat's a kind of a thief and like a burglar, and Silver Sable's this mercenary who leads a band of.
The anti-heroes are so much fun.
they really are.
I mean, that's why
This
Deadpool
group,
was such
so.
a hit too.
So yeah, Hollywood looks like it's finally opening up, not just on screen but behind the camera too.
Well, let's hope so.
Yeah, sorry, I'm just so excited.
No,
about all
it'll
of those
be.
projects.
I really hope it actually happens, because I feel like we sort of go through these cycles. Like, Wonder Woman existed in the 70s, and there were a lot of sort of female shows.
Well, and especially when you see her in animated comics,
Right.
you see her with Superman a lot,
You do.
which is not necessarily. I mean, I don't not like Wonder Woman, but I hadn't really followed her story until seeing this live action movie. Totally fell in love with her. But I never really followed Wonder Woman because Superman just wasn't my favorite. Like, he can do everything, and there's not a lot of flaw to him, and that doesn't
He's
make
not
it
the
an
most interesting.
interesting,
Yeah.
dynamic character. Whereas, with Spider-Man, Peter Parker is just as interesting, and that, like, makes a good story. And Superman wasn't that for me. He can do laser eyes, he's super strength, he can fly, like, all of these things. And then, like, where's the downfall? Where's the real guy? You don't know a lot about it. And then when you hear about Wonder Woman, it's usually with Superman. And
do,
so
yeah.
I just kind of closed the door on that, which sucks because you want a female superhero.
Right.
And so it was really nice that they didn't make this movie about Superman or throw her in with Superman because, I mean, like, was it Black Widow just started
Kinda
showing up
folded
because
in,
of Justice League? Like, it would just be really
and,
great.
yeah, the Marvel movie she folded in,
yeah.
yeah.
So exactly, it's great that they have just a Wonder Woman movie.
Yes, definitely. Like, yeah, and she has a fascinating backstory if you want to read into it. The guy
Yeah.
who created her, like, he advocated for, like, female superiority.
Interesting.
And, yeah, I think he was in a relationship. Like, I think he even advocated for the end of marriage and for women to take over the world. And I think he, like, was in a three-way with two women.
Wait, a three-way
their
relationship? Oh,
yeah.
okay.
So, and advocating, like, also the end of prudery, because in the old like posters where she's breaking chains, one of them is like superiority and the other one is prudery, so he's really into like the kink stuff. So those early comic books are really kinky. So
I mean, circling back to sort of the fuller DC universe Superman thing, I did really appreciate that, unlike with Batman, they just like did make this its own separate story. But
Yeah.
do you think that we're going to see anybody like on the island ever again? Do you think we're going to see any of her backstory in future movies?
no,
You don't think so?
I think
I
they're
don't
kind
think
of
so either, yeah.
forward.
I
Like,
mean,
with all the
the
others.
queen even said, "You may not return."
Fair enough.
I
Still
think that
leaving it
kinda-
open though.
It does leave it open to if they want to. Though sadly, Robin Wright will not be there anymore, which made me very upset.
Yeah.
Ugh.
She won't?
No, because she, again, spoilers, died in the movie.
Oh, right.
People are listening to this. You hope they know what they're walking into.
I mean,
Yeah,
hopefully,
but
but
it's too bad she had to die. But that did.
Right, I forgot she didn't
I
play her
mean-
mother. That
Yeah.
wasn't-
that was
the-
actually odd to me that they had Robin Wright play the aunt and not her mother. But she did a fantastic job regardless.
Yeah. It was like just too soon. She
Yeah.
died, but it
Well, the
was a really
hero's-
good moment.
Hero's journey,
though.
the death of her mentor.
Right.
So
Yeah, exactly.
she was gonna die. Either
She
her or
had
her
to.
mother was gonna die.
One of them
But-
had to go.
Yeah.
It made more sense because her mom was trying to keep her from everything to begin
Right.
with. So
Yeah, I think it was, I don't know, I thought it was really interesting the way they framed things there, almost as if it is sort of open to return, but they don't have to if they don't want to.
Yeah, because, I mean, she was essentially saying, like, once you leave, like, that's it.
Yeah.
So.
Or maybe in the century between, like, World War I and the present day, she returned and went back or
She
something.
just hopped over there in the 50s and was like, I'm just going to spend a decade here and say hi to Mom, and then...
Exactly. It's a different perspective when you're immortal, basically.
It's true. How old is she supposed to be? Like 5,000 years old or something like that?
I think so, yeah, in the comics.
They
since
lost
the
right
relaunch.
over that.
Yeah.
They did. Yeah.
But, all right, what else? So, in terms of, like, you know, the framing device at the very beginning and the very end, where they have the Bruce Wayne creepily found an old photo of her with Chris Pine and their old crew, who we haven't talked about yet. So what do we think her relationship with Batman is in terms of, like, how is she going to get folded into the larger universe?
That's an interesting question.
Because I know she did
I was
appear,
wondering, too.
Yeah, she appeared
they're
in...
definitely, they're really smart about tying the movies in together.
Right.
Well, now they are.
Well, it took them a while to get there.
Right.
Because I know she appeared briefly in the last movie, but...
Batman versus Superman.
Right.
She was the best part.
Oh, I never saw that, honestly, because I just... what?
Just watch, like, the last
So,
half hour.
yeah, now
where
I
she
will,
shows
I
up
guess.
and
I
They
saves
have a
them
very
both.
dramatic reason for stopping their fight, and dramatic and very, very dumb reason for stopping their fight.
It just seemed like a big whose dick is bigger contest.
It
So
did a
I
little
just
bit.
didn't want to watch
And
it.
she said, vaginas are the future. When she showed up.
Good.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Oh, I didn't know that. So, okay, I'll watch the last, 10 minutes, 15 minutes? When is it?
20.
Like
I think.
20 half
20.
hour.
Jesus,
Yeah.
they're
movies are so long now.
Just speed through
And
any
there's a
moment she's not on
director's cut that's
screen.
even longer.
Oof.
They say it's actually pretty good. It
Really?
adds a lot to the movie. That's just what I've heard, though. I frankly haven't bothered.
Do you think we'll do a director's cut for Wonder Woman?
What?
Do you think we'll do a director's cut for Wonder Woman?
I have no idea, but I would love to see that.
I mean, so would I. It'd be great to see what.
I would
ends
watch
up.
it and then watch it all over again.
That's
with
where the
director's
sex scene
commentary.
is that we didn't have.
exactly.
That's where that is.
So what did we
She
think
used the lasso.
in the sex scene? Where she
Yes.
like tie him to the bed, and
Exactly.
that feels like a very,
It's an
very.
homage to her roots.
It's a frivolous use of the lasso. Come on.
It is not frivolous.
I mean, do you really want your sex to be that honest? Think about it.
Who wants
Think
that?
about it.
No one.
I don't want to know the truth.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
All right. So what did we think of? So they go to London. And Chris Pine meets up with his sort of crew of people who are going to sneak them in onto the front in Belgium. And we have sort
This
of
Rough Rider crew.
Yeah.
Yep. The
What did
dirty
we-
half dozen?
I think it's like 4 people,
Yeah.
5 people, something like that. What did we think
Yeah.
of sort of those roles and how those were filled out?
Okay, well, I thought a really great moment with Wonder Woman was we all have our own battles, Diana.
Right.
First of all, Diana is a freaking beautiful name.
It
and
is.
I loved how much they said it in the movie. I'm just like, yes, Diana. But that was a really beautiful moment. That was like a really good Wonder Woman learned something moment.
Right.
Because she's really focused. I mean, she even says it. She's like, I used to want to save the world, and like blah blah blah. She's really focused on this one God, and this is what she read, and this is what she was essentially trained and bred to do. But there's a lot to learn about humanity itself, because
Right.
even the rest of the Amazons on the island discuss on whether or not, they're worthy of their help. And, what they went through is very different than what is happening in the human world. So, and then especially when she was fighting the one God and he was saying, men ruined us, humanity ruined us, we need to take it back, et cetera, et cetera. We have a lot of flaws. The human race have a lot of flaws. And so, according to Wonder Woman, to Diana, it's kill Ares and everybody's going to be a good person again.
Right.
He's saying, listen, we all have both sides to us. And then, each moment of her leading up to that realization, there's a few of those stones, but the, hey, we're all fighting our own battles is a really good one. And having that, group of misfits was a really good way of showing that rather than telling it. Like, that was a really
Right.
good staple line. But, circling back to Suicide Squad, because it was another DC, they had way too many stories and way too many plots going on that didn't tie into the, quote, main plot. but the whole time they just kept telling us stuff.
Right.
They weren't actually carrying it through the plot. They just kept being like, oh yeah, this. And so with this movie, they did a really good job of showing when she was learning something, showing when she observed something, when she felt something. And that was a really good way to do that with having different personalities dragged in.
This arc from innocence to knowledge, basically.
Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And how it didn't exactly made her happier, but it did make her better.
Yeah, and it was really, when she was like, oh, yes, we need you, because who else will sing? Like that, it's like really sweet. Like, because before she's like, why do we need them? And then she learns everybody has their own battles. Everybody's going to have their own strength. You work better in a team. Wrap it up. But I thought that was a really good staple moment, and we wouldn't have had it without them.
I really appreciate that aspect of it. The fact that they each had sort of their own sort of little, not stories, but like sort of beats. There's sort of like character notes. They didn't delve too much into them, but she like learned about humanity through them.
Yeah, and I think even, for Wonder Woman, for Diana, she as a child was like, aren't I ready yet? Like, I'm ready to train. Like, this is the one thing she is meant to do, and she wants to do it. But then again, through talking to, what was his name? When he said we're all fighting our own battles, he was talking about how he never wanted to be a soldier. He wanted to be a performer. He's the wrong color, et cetera, et cetera. But he's really good. What is his skill? Was it shooting? No, that was the other guy.
No, he was the one.
He was the one who got them into the party. He was
Yes.
He was just really good
so
at
like
what
an
he
actor,
did.
smuggler.
He was
like,
really good at
con
that.
artist
So like
kind of,
we all have layers. We all have multiple things that we want to do. So hey, Diana, like it's okay to want, because she's like, what do people do when they're not at war? And she's learning all these things. But like, it's okay to do more than one thing.
Yeah.
You don't just have to be in battle all the time.
Yeah, so many sideline groups were really a part of this. Not all of them, of course, but
a lot.
a lot.
Yeah.
More than you'd expect for a movie like this.
Definitely.
And I thought it was an interesting message for a movie overall. I thought it was really, really humanist, like the idea, like, it's not just one bad guy you have to kill, it's sort of like the...
People have to learn to be better.
Right. And it's not an easy thing to conquer. And it's not just about fighting somebody, it's about, learning and growing, moving past.
Yeah, I kind of didn't like how by the end, though, the female villain was the only one who was really disfigured and considered ugly, and
That's
she's
kind
like
of...
staring up in awe like the pretty girl.
All right, so what do we think about Dr. Poison as a character? Because I do not know what I think about her.
I wish I could have known more of her backstory.
Yeah, that was a character where I honestly was curious as to why it was a woman, though. Because if it was the war, if it was that time, I don't think
Then
she
it
would
would
have
have
had that
been less likely.
profession.
Yeah, I felt like it was a reverse prejudice of mine, because it did feel worse to see a woman doing that, preparing to kill so many people.
I thought it was
I guess.
interesting.
I just don't think she would have had that job at that time in that time period.
Yeah, especially the pairing with Ludendorff.
Yeah.
Was that his name, Ludendorff? Mm-hmm. And I know it was something outrageously German to the point where I rolled my eyes a little bit.
We'll get it wrong anyway.
But where they sort of had this, I don't know if friendship's the right word, but they were, happily murdering other Germans together.
Yeah, and she
Exactly.
made him like a pick-me-up drug, like...
Yeah, like, the gas mask
But-
won't help. They don't know that. Ha 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 ha.
Yeah, that was really bizarre. They're like, let's murder all of German high command. It's just fine.
It was kind of like the opposite, a bonding moment that was like on the opposite end of how Diana bonded with her friends.
Yeah.
Right, they are kind of inverse reflect. Are they supposed? Do you think they're supposed to be foils and inverse reflections of each other, or is Dr. Poison well defined enough to be a foil for Diana?
I didn't like that her opposite was considered more. I just didn't like how her disfigurement was so much a part of who she was.
Right.
Well, I mean, it made sense for what she does.
And
I thought it was an interesting,
It
like,
made sense,
clearly something happened.
For like the time, I thought it was interesting because you have those like old masks that they used. I thought the mask aspect was interesting just from a historical perspective, but I really don't know how I feel about it from like a, beauty versus ugliness trope sort of perspective. It felt odd there.
I mean, none of the guys had to be disfigured. The only real male villain I can think of that's really disfigured in the Marvel universe too is like the Red Skull.
And that is not a realistic disfigurement in any regard. No. Nobody's skull turns red. And then like their skin peels. What the hell was that?
Space magic.
But yeah, I don't know. I thought she wasn't. I don't know how I felt about her as a character. I thought it was interesting, but I don't know if it was the right choice.
I did like how when Steve was at the ball. Is that what it was? A ball?
A gala?
A gala, yes. And so he basically tried to hit on her.
Right.
That was like his method. And she was like, okay, well, I see what you're doing.
Well, he appealed to her work kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like he hit on her by like being like, your work is fantastic. Yeah. I'm really a huge fan of your work. And I just
well, I mean,
want
yeah,
y'all to
that's
get
what
all
he
in your work.
said. Yeah. But at least she just wasn't like stupid and like as a character.
Right.
As
she
a
was
female
able to be
character,
like,
at least she
oh,
wasn't
you're
like,
just...
wow, thanks so much. Let's go take a look. She was like, I know what you're doing.
But yeah, I don't know. I feel like she's an interesting character, but I still don't know if it was the right choice.
We didn't know enough about her.
Yeah.
Definitely.
But I don't know. This didn't bother. I thought it made. I mean, she was a villain. Like she was.
Right.
I will still say I don't understand why or how she was a woman just because of the time period and the job she had. It didn't match up to me. But it could have been a man too to have that. I thought that was an interesting. Clearly, an accident happened, but she's devoted to her work. Like. Sort of thing.
Yeah, so I just feel like she could have been so much better if they just delved more into her.
Yeah.
Like
they didn't spend a lot of time with her. And they spent a lot of time with Ludendorff because he was the one who was supposed to be Ares, even though that was a fake out.
Spoiler alert.
I'm so sorry. Oh, no. But it was... I don't know. I kind of wish we'd gotten a little more time with her because Ludendorff got his whole little sort of villain speech when he was like,
Fair
war
enough.
makes men better.
Yeah.
I've read the Dreets. And she didn't
Yeah.
really get a similar moment.
Yeah,
about why she does what she does.
It kind of goes back to what someone else who writes for the young folks said. Like, if only more love interests got more time devoted to them as Chris Pine did. If only she got more time devoted. If the genders were reversed, Diana would have gotten almost
not as much time.
No screen time.
Yeah, he had a lot of, there was a lot of time figuring out, all right, this is who Chris Pine is, this is what he does, this is what he believes, and...
Well, they had to really make sure why a man of that time period would be such a good match for her.
Right. It's because
I guess.
You know, he was a spy who knew war and da-da-da-da-da. But what do we think about this sort of a sacrifice at the end and what that sort of telegraphs to Diana and, like, what it teaches her?
That, I guess, that mankind is capable of great evil and great good. I suppose.
True.
Because she pretty much saw the worst and the best, like when they released the gas over and killed all these townspeople that she just spent so much time with.
Yeah.
You know? And then you also have him, like, basically sacrificing himself to save millions.
But I think it's interesting that they put sort of her, like, temptation towards the dark side moment, like, right after his death, when she's going to maybe crush Dr. Poison with the big, what is that, like an airplane wing?
I mean,
she's holding something.
I thought it was a tank. Was it a
Was
tank?
it a tank? It was some large metal piece of war machinery.
She had a couple of moments like that, though.
Yeah.
Because when he was showing her what the world could be and blah, blah, blah. So that was the first moment. She's like, I couldn't live there, though. That was the first one. And then, the second moment was with Dr. Poison.
I can't be a part of that, killing all those people.
True. Yeah. I thought it was interestingly done at the end, sort of his speech to her where he's in that little room and shaded in glass, but she can't really get a handle on where he is. I thought that was really interesting, sort of villain framing. I liked that.
Definitely.
Let's see, what else?
Well, I've gotten kind of upset over how some people have reviewed this movie. Did you hear about the Vulture article?
I did not.
I haven't.
Oh my God. It's like it's like an instructional piece on how not to write about female characters.
What did they do?
Oh, well, he said, sorry guys, there's none of that S&M kinkiness she had in the early comic books, so yeah, I guess you'll just have to go without that. And he's like, she's Israeli. She's an Israeli woman. They're a breed unto themselves.
Oh God.
Yeah. Oh, I haven't even gotten to the worst part yet.
Okay, keep going.
Like,
I'm very afraid.
Oh, geez. Like, and suddenly I'm drawing a blank, of course. Well, basically he said, and yeah, she has this little crinkle whenever she frowns at something Chris Pine says. Yeah.
What?
It's...
So basically this dude was very...
She's not a real god, so I am upset.
And he's like, yes, you won't get your sorry guys, but they're not going to appeal to us by not giving us that full money shot. It's with her costumes.
Is that a direct quote that they actually...
Oh, for fuck's sake.
That's not fantastic.
Yeah, read that Vulture article. I could not believe it. I'm like, this is a major publication. This isn't like a right wing. This isn't a fringe. This is...
This is not a random blog or someone on Twitter.
No, this is someone from a
Vulture.
major person at a major site, a major magazine, you know? And I thought, you still see us this way. You still see women this way.
I mean, that's what I think is interesting about... So really, this film is it's a superhero movie, and it shouldn't necessarily have to be about the fact that she's female, but so many people are like, I need to view only through that lens.
And only through how she looks as a...
Right, especially that.
I mean, yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with women being sexy on screen as long as that's not all there is to her.
And that wasn't how she was in this movie. Like, that was definitely
she was obviously beautiful.
Yeah.
It'd be silly if no one commented on that, you know. But there was so much more to her.
Right, and to make that your
she
primary...
had a story.
Yeah.
And even her crew started off as being like, damn, girl, and then was like, wait, where's Diana? Like, we need her.
Definitely. I mean, I heard that the director, Patty Jenkins, fought for that scene in No Man's Land, where she...
That was fantastic.
Yes. Yes, I heard she really had to fight for that.
Wow.
Really? You know, to give her that
shame.
moment where she says, I'm here, this is what I'm here to do, I'm gonna do it.
So that was such a moment of strength, and it was like a really inversion of, you know, you see a lot of World War I movies where people are just sort of trapped in the trenches and they can't move anywhere, and she just gets out and does it and has her moment of courage there.
I thought he did a really good, real quick explanation of it.
He did.
That was really tragic too,
Yeah.
hearing that they've been there for so long and moved an inch and et cetera, et cetera. Like, that was a really quick way to explain how tragic the situation is, how much she doesn't get it, and then how much she just fucking kills it, man.
Yes.
That is one thing I really liked about that movie. There's a lot of people telling her that things are pointless, that the world just is this way, and she doesn't accept it. She's like, no, things can be better, and I'm going to barrel through and make it better.
Which is fair, though. We are mere humans, and she is a god.
It's
so
true.
Fair enough, but she's just so quick to be involved.
She is.
This movie embraces sincerity unapologetically.
It really does, yeah.
In a way that's so refreshing and not corny. It just says, no, we're not going to be cynical. We're not going to be Suicide Squad. She is good, and she's not boring.
Yeah.
Like, they haven't... It's amazing that they're doing a female superhero more justice... They do Wonder Woman more justice than Superman. They couldn't seem to do that for Superman.
I mean, the thing with Superman is, I feel
he's
like...
not interesting.
He really isn't interesting.
I suppose.
He's just a guy from Kansas, really, who happens to be an alien. Like, that's his whole deal.
He's supposed to represent the best of us, I guess, in the same way Captain America is.
But they were so desperate to make that a dark story.
Yeah.
And it's not, like, it shouldn't be. And that's
They
actually...
seem to have gotten that out of their system.
I was really refreshed that even though the palette was still very dark, I do wish that the film had been, you know, just from a lighting perspective, lighter at points, because I was like, sometimes I can't see what's happening. But like it didn't have that whole like we're so grim, we're so dark thing that are so popular, especially in the DC superhero movies. Like it was funny. It was funny at a lot of points, and that was really refreshing to me.
Yeah, it had a lot of cute moments, had a lot of funny moments. But at the same time, I mean, it had its very real moments, but yet they kept action through the whole thing, and I think that was so well done.
It really was.
And to see this movie, and to see a little girl, like,
Yeah.
standing in front of the poster, she's dressed up as Wonder Woman, you know? It just gives you the feels,
It
know?
does.
Because little girls get to go in and see this. Like, I remember someone tweeted, no wonder white men are so damn confident. I see one woman kicking ass like this, and I feel like I can go kick ass.
Aw.
You know?
Seriously.
It's true.
Yeah.
I felt great after that movie.
Yeah, we get that so little. An unapologetically heroic woman who doesn't stumble into it. You know, she doesn't accidentally discover her powers. She sets out. She trains, you know. Instead of being kind of caught up in circumstances beyond her control, she embraces what she is and her
Whereas,
mission.
like, her mom is, like, afraid for her, saying, like, oh, the sooner, you know, she learns, the sooner he'll find her. So that was, like, an interesting and understandable dynamic, too. But it wasn't, like, I don't know, what's something recent that came out? Like, Moana, for example. Okay, so, like, you know, she needs to leave the island to I don't.
Save her people?
Yeah, I was so high. I don't remember it. But basically, and her parents were like,
well, just her
don't
father,
go
really.
anywhere. Yeah, like, don't go anywhere. You are not allowed to leave. And then she goes and she's having this self-battle the whole time. Like, I don't know if you want to call her a hero, but that's something recent that came out where it was, hide who you are. I guess Frozen is a better example. Anyway, it was really nice that she wasn't having that self-battle with herself the whole time. We don't need that. We don't need that self-conflict of, like, be who you really are. That's not what it was about. And she had the moment in the beginning where, she put her arms together and when she was training.
Right. And it blew everybody away.
Yeah, and she was like, I'm sorry. But she wasn't like, oh my gosh, what have I done? Like,
Yes.
She never saw herself as a villain. And
No.
I think that's so good because they easily could have played that up hard.
Like, am I a monster? I don't know. Just
Yeah,
that's a common trope.
and it's just not what that story is about. So it's really good. It just would have been really easy to do that, especially with being a woman and with figuring out where her place is in the human world. There were a lot of comments of like, you have so much to learn, and like, fair enough, but so did Hercules, and he was
Yeah.
so good that there wasn't like this whole separate story of like, where did I come from? And like, she like knows. She's like, this is who I am, and I'm doing my thing.
Yeah, she's deeply sure of herself, and at every moment of the
Which
plot.
is so good
It's
because
so
you
good,
want
yeah.
that strong woman being super sure of herself,
Yeah.
not constantly doubting everything she's doing.
And every moment in the plot, she's the one, like, driving it forward. She's like, I want to train harder. I want to leave the island and solve this war. I want to go to the front. Why are you taking me to London? I want to go find Ares. She's making every choice, and the movie is following her choices
Yes.
rather than, like, things happening kind of around or to her, which I thought was fantastic.
And her just, like,
Definitely.
using her powers to figure it out. Like, she definitely led the movie. Thank goodness.
Right?
Yes. God, she now she's kind of remind me of like the kind of complete opposite side of the coin to Harley Quinn in a way. Wonder Woman represents the best of us, but Harley Quinn has such a female fan base too because she is allowed to be also terrible and confident.
Both
and,
women do what they want. Both
Yeah.
don't do a lot of thinking. They just do it.
And she also
they just
has a big
do
done
it.
justice.
Yeah.
So hopefully when her solo movie. So yeah, everything you said, it kind of reminded me of so much of what I love about her. She's basically the female Deadpool, one of the only female anti-heroines we have. I just
true.
love how they're doing this. We're getting a variety. Like I'm so done with all the young adult novels that basically tell. Yes,
same as that story.
Yes, there were women's stories and young women's stories and their choices and everything, but they were all the same. And so I'm so glad we get this different kinds of stories, different kinds of women. So yes.
Something that stands on its own. No, it's not like a supportive role or like, you can take a Wonder Woman monologue and it makes sense. Whereas like, a lot of female monologues are just like lines and you're like, what's the point of this? What is the rest of this? It doesn't make sense on its own. Anything she says, it does. It stands strong.
Yeah. Meanwhile, in the Marvel universe, Hulk gets 2 movies and Black Widow doesn't get any.
No, Hulk gets 2 movies again, like to start over again, not just
Yes.
like on his own. Yeah, and Black Widow has nothing. It's very upsetting.
Yeah.
And Agent Carter's TV series got canceled. Ugh, it's all nonsense over there. But hopefully, this is a rare thing to say, but hopefully DC is going to be our savior here and actually give us some decent.
Sorry.
I know.
That's a
I'm
distant
sorry.
reflex.
I'm so sorry.
But yeah, Marvel's I like that Captain Marvel movie. So
let's see
and
how
Brie
that goes.
Larson.
Brie
So,
Larson is fantastic.
Yeah.
So let's see how that one turns out.
Let's see. Her, Jennifer Lawrence, or Bruce Campbell would play me in a movie.
Bruce Campbell? You want Bruce Campbell to play you?
Yeah, maybe 90s era Bruce Campbell, like Jack of all trades or something.
Current era Bruce Campbell is very old. Well, not very
Yeah.
old, but I don't know if I'd want current era Bruce Campbell playing me.
Well, not current era. Like I said,
But
I like
90s
the
era was
series.
a lot of fun. Yeah.
Definitely.
But
Anyway.
all right, let's see. Do we have any final thoughts? Any like things I didn't hit that you really want to like bring up and discuss?
I think we did a really good job.
Yeah, me too. Confidence.
Yeah. Be super confident in ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah. We did really well in this review. Good for us. Hooray.
Exactly.
All right. Well, this is
Yeah, I want to thank the guys because at first I didn't think I'd be discussing this with 2 other women. I thought I'd be the token girl because lots of times when I go to groups like screenings and critics groups meetings, lots of times I'm the only female film critic there.
It's true.
So
We are
I'm looking to see one
diversity.
other.
But you
Yeah,
are
kind of
what's
all
us?
very kind of.
Aw. Well, I'm glad that we could all discuss this together.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, it's so cool discussing this with other women who are also in the arts and doing this. So
And I know you're really invested in women in the arts, so it's subtly moving over in my transition into the plug section. So why don't you talk a little bit about what you've been putting together in Milwaukee?
Well, I'm putting together, this will be my second year of the Milwaukee Women's Film Festival. That's going to be from September 8th through the 10th. Yeah, I did it for the first time last year, and given the current state of things, let's just say, which is a rant unto itself, I just couldn't resist doing it for a second year. So yeah. And also, I decided men are welcome to submit their films too.
Okay.
As long as they have at least one female protagonist.
Ah, excellent.
So, yeah. But a premium is placed on female directors.
Perfect.
So yeah, all you have to do is be a female director, and I want to see it. So yeah.
I love it. I look forward to it.
Thank you.
And you have a show coming up soon too.
Yeah, I'll be doing stand-up at the Underground Lounge on July 3rd. I just wanted to make sure there was a good distance between now and when this comes out and when that'll perform. And I'm also doing a 10-minute play festival with the Dandelion Theater at the end of June, too.
Oh, excellent.
So that'll be really cool. It's
Nice.
going to be at the Den Theater.
All right. Cool. All right. Well, this has been Cinephrauds. Oh, are you all right?
Yes. Yes, I'm all right.
We almost made it without the
We were so
hiccups.
close this whole time. But all
I
right,
could feel it coming, and I couldn't stop it.
it's okay. All right, we'll do this again.
All right.
This has been Cinephrauds, and it's been great talking to you two.
Oh,
Thank
do you have
you so
anything
much.
coming up?
I have nothing coming up. I've never had anything
Sorry.
coming up.
You have this going on.
I do. It's exciting.
Exactly.
Oh, actually, wait. I do have a show coming out, but it doesn't matter.
It
All right.
does. Tell me about it.
All right, I will try to close out. Is that what I should?
No. Talk about your show.
Ha.
All right. I'm doing a show called Fucktails on the 16th, which is kind of why I didn't want to plug it on this podcast. But yeah, it's just a show where people sort of discuss awkward sexual experiences, and I'll be doing that on the 16th.
Why didn't you want to
Great.
say that? That sounds awesome.
I was like, Fucktails feels a little reductive based after all this like empowerment women stuff we've been talking about.
And you've also put the DuckTales theme in my head, so.
It's true. I was trying to get the person running it to like record a theme that was based on DuckTales, but he sadly does not want to do that. So I might just do it myself and play it before my set. We'll see how that goes. All right. Well, this has been Cinephrauds, and it's been great talking to you two. And this has been Wonder Woman. Have a great day, everybody.
Thank you.
What she said.